McCain's greatest strength is national security. That's the one area where he has an advantage over Senator Obama. And so I think all that Barack Obama is trying to do now is neutralize that issue, because on every other issue, the Democrats are way ahead.
Now, Homeland Security Secretary Michael Chertoff is telling reporters he believes terrorists might see this change in administration as a prime opportunity to attack U.S. interests. He says that's true regardless of which man becomes president. Wolf.
Jessica, thank you. Another steep and disturbing plunge in stock prices today, and it's more reason for voters to wring their hands or clutch their wallets only 13 days before the presidential election. America's economic anxiety has not been a good thing for John McCain's campaign. I sat down with him today in the battleground state of New Hampshire, and we spoke at length about what matters most to voters right now. Colin Powell was pretty biting in his criticism. He said you were a little unsure of how to deal with the economic crisis. You seem to have, he said, a different approach every day. He sensed you didn't have a complete grasp of the economic crisis the American people are going through right now. I wonder if you'd like to respond to Secretary Powell.
Except to say that I'm happy to have the endorsement and support and belief of 5 former Secretaries of State: Henry Kissinger, George Shultz, Jim Baker, Larry Eagleburger, and General Al Haig, and over 200 retired military generals and admirals that have supported my campaign. I respect General Powell, but I respectfully disagree. I especially disagree when he said the comments that he made about Governor Palin, the most popular governor in America, governor, knows energy issues, $40 billion pipeline reformer, took on the governor of her own party. And I hope that sometime General Powell will take time out of his busy schedule to meet with her. I know she'd be pleased to meet with him.
But on the economic issues, his criticism was that you were going back and forth on some of the specific issues, and he didn't like that. He thought that Senator Obama had a consistency in his approach.
All I can do is laugh. We've been very consistent about cutting spending, cutting taxes, and the fundamentals of our economic message. Senator Obama's been all over the place, including wanting to, quote, raise taxes on only the rich, 95% tax cut for 95% of Americans when 40% of them pay no federal income taxes as it is. You know, whatever it is he's changed with. Look at the positions that he held on tax increases when he was first running in the primary, and look at them now. They're vastly different. And the fundamental difference, and maybe Secretary Powell agrees with him, I don't know, but to spread the wealth around is certainly not something that I would ever do. Do you agree with Ben Bernanke, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, who said this week, he said that it's now a good time for a second economic stimulus package, seeming to join hands with Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid. Is it a good time to do that, to come up with another $150 billion stimulus package? I would be glad to look at anything that could be helpful to our economy. I respect Ben Bernanke. I'm sick and tired, and the American people are sick and tired of the pork barrel spending. Why don't we cancel the $18 billion in pork barrel projects that we put in last year at a minimum, and use some of that money to help stimulate the economy as well, instead of bridges to nowhere and projectors in planetariums such as Senator Obama asked for. He asked for nearly $1 billion in pork barrel projects. Why don't we ask him to make sure that money that was given to pork barrel projects back to helping American families? And then I think that Americans would be more likely to support such a thing. Approval rating in Congress is 9%. No wonder. We've got a $10 trillion debt to our kids.
Let me ask you about that.
$500 billion to China. We don't want to continue that spending practices, and Americans are sick and tired of it.
But you voted for that $700 billion rescue plan or bailout plan, even though it had another $100 billion or so in unrelated expenditures that some would call pork or earmarks or whatever. Where would you, as president, draw the line between vetoing that kind of spending bill or accepting it because of the greater good that it also includes, as you decided in the bailout?
I would have vetoed literally every spending bill, even those that I had voted for, if I were president of the United States, and made them famous the way Ronald Reagan did. Let's have no doubt about this situation. we've presided over the largest increase in the size of government in the last 8 years than any time in history. So we can take a hatchet and we can take a scalpel and we can reduce the spending, and we can start by vetoing the normal appropriations bills. We all know that we are in a situation of severe financial crisis, and the Democrats shouldn't be proud of adding $100 billion in pork barrel spending. They should be embarrassed.
But you voted for it, too.
I had to vote for it, obviously, when we are in a situation of huge financial crisis. But we wouldn't be in the crisis we're in if a couple of things hadn't happened. One, $10 trillion of debt, dramatically overspending, increasing the size of government, and Democrats defending Fannie and Freddie and their outrageous practices, which put us into the ditch to start with. The same people that are for the rescue package are the same people that defended Fannie and Freddie, and when some of us proposed legislation to fix it. And so we should have started long ago towards vetoing these bills. When you are in an extraordinary crisis, obviously you have to take extraordinary measures.
And coming up in the next part of my one-on-one interview with Senator McCain, why One Eye reporter asks him if it's hypocritical to accuse Barack Obama of socialism. Part 3 of the interview continuing right after this. Also, we're going to get immediate reaction from the Obama campaign. I'll be speaking with Chief Strategist David Axelrod. He's standing by live. He's been listening to Senator McCain. We'll get his reaction. Plus, the Palin factor. Has John McCain's choice of a running mate already come back to haunt him? Lots going on today right here in The Situation.
The Situation Room, brought to you by Fleximan. Joints not what they used to be? Do something about it. Get flexible. Get flexible.